I have a bone to pick with the producers. I think the favoritism is so obvious to tell because if you look at Molly and Zachariah's date and you compare it to Mitch and Ella B's date or Ty and Ella's date, you can see that the most amount of money was spent on Zachariah and Molly because all Mitch and Ella B got was a harponist. All Ty and Ella got were people, dancers, and a couple of burning hearts. That's it. And yet Molly and Zachariah had this place all decked out to sit on. They had the pink cannons, they had the balloons, they had the pink. I think the producer's favorite is Molly and Zachariah, as we've seen all season, and I think the fans need to rise up and they need to make their voices heard in regards who they want to win because we've spent 8 weeks with these people. We deserve to choose our winner. The producers do not have the right to choose their winner. Anyway, I digress. I'm in my feelings. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, and turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island, Season 10, Episode 53. I am going to need Mitch to see someone because in the previous episode, you were saying Ella B is fake, and suddenly things have changed today. That doesn't make sense. Really doesn't make sense. Anyway, Mitch and Ella B receive a text message to say they will be going for their final date, and so it's in the early in the morning, and so everybody, by the time they wake up, Mitch and Ella B have gone. Obviously, Mitch helps Ella B get dressed. They go. I think it was a lovely setup. I think it was very romantic. I think it was better than Ron and I keep forgetting this girl's name last season where they had their feet in water. And it really looked amazing, and the cello player was amazing as well. God, amazing is my word today. And so I liked how sort of intimate it was, but then there's obviously this shadow over their heads that Mitch kept saying she was fake. I thought they were going to talk about that, but then knowing Mitch, you can never trust Mitch, and he decided to ask her to be exclusive, and it's like, how did you address your concerns? You were complaining that she's fake. What reassurance have you had that tells you that she's not fake? What in that situation has changed within less than 24 hours for you to think, right, I want to be exclusive with this person? Are you doing it because you are emotionally attached to her? Or are you doing it because you're looking at the prize fund? That doesn't make sense. I know Mitch has been messy all season, but this was the worst it's been, and I personally didn't like it. I felt really bad for Ella B. I really did. And it's sad that she was so ecstatic and she agreed for them to be exclusive, and it's like, why would you do that to yourself, really? Why would you do that to yourself? Mitch has not been the best. I think she shouldn't have made herself exclusive. I think she should have said, let's be, well, closed off and exclusive are the same word, more or less, are the same thing. So I don't know. I think she should have said, let's go into the outside world. Let's see how we are. And if we're still getting along very well, then we'll become exclusive. But for the time being, let's just keep it going where we are, keep exploring and seeing how deep our connection can get. That's my opinion. All the islanders wake up, and Ella has no idea that Mitch and Ella B received a message because I think she was fast asleep. Everyone is just having a conversation and sort of thinking of what's happening. And then Zachariah, he was there when Ty dragged Locken for talking to Whitney about their coupling in front of other people. And yet he did exactly the same thing. He told Molly about Mitch sort of saying that he felt Ella B was fake. And the difference is when Whitney was told, she didn't reveal it to anyone else. Whereas Molly immediately ran to look for Whitney to tell Whitney what she had heard and sort of have a debriefing with Whitney and how they were going to go about it and what Whitney thought was best. And it's like, this is a bit messy. This is way too messy and way too shady. You really don't need this. And so they then sat there and were sort of mulling it over on what to do next. Ella B and Mitchell returned from their date. And Mitch is playing, dumb in the sense that Ella B is gushing about their date, about everything that went on, and Molly and Whitney are just looking at each other like, nah, this isn't it. This isn't it. There was a lot of crap that Mitch was saying behind your back, and I'm surprised they didn't get to say anything to her. I don't know whether this was because Zachariah and Molly immediately received a message to say that it's time for their date. I don't know. Because I think the producers did this in the sense that they didn't want to ruin Zachariah and Molly's date discussing what had happened. So I think this is why they immediately sent the text for them to go on their date. When Mitch told the guys that he was now exclusive, they were all shocked. Given what he had been saying about Ella B, they were all shocked because they couldn't understand. And Ty asked him, because Ty, I think people misunderstand him. Ty, I think, is very protective of Ella B because this is someone that he knows, not because he's romantically invested in her, but I think this is someone he knows and he's sort of seeing her like his sister or whatever, and so he's protective. And he was really shocked. And the guys asked me, "What do you mean you asked her to be exclusive when you were saying she's fake? How did we go from one thing to another?" And Mitch was, "Oh, I just got clarity." What clarity? Do you even understand the meaning of clarity? Make it make sense. I think the producers knew what they were doing in getting Molly to tell Whitney because they knew Whitney is someone who's very honest and she's not going to hold on to that information. So they wanted to make Whitney the bad guy in the sense that if the viewers are going to be upset that the gossip had been sort of revealed, Whitney would be blamed for it, forgetting that Molly is the one who took it from Zachariah and looked for Whitney and gave Whitney the gossip. So if anyone is to blame, it's Molly. Anyway, now that we've clarified that, um, then Whitney pulls Ella B for a chat and sort of says to her, "I don't want you to be blindsided, but this is what Mitch has been saying. I heard it from Molly, who heard it from Zachariah, that Mitch was busy telling all the guys that you're fake. So this is the reason why I didn't seem very happy for you when you said you're exclusive, because I couldn't understand how he had gone from saying you're fake to suddenly being exclusive." And Ella B was really upset. So she pulled him up because Ella B, one thing about her is she's just like Whitney. She's always going to be honest. She might be a bit more sensitive than Whitney, but she's always going to defend herself. So while they're having this conversation, Ella B and Whitney, Lockham tells Mitch that I think Whitney's telling Ella B about you saying she was fake because Zachariah told Molly, who then went and told Whitney. So I have a feeling Whitney's telling what? Ella B. And he says, "Well, oh, I was going to tell her anyway." And the guys are looking at him like, "What do you mean you're going to tell her? You should have told her before you were exclusive, not after you're exclusive." So Ella, by the time she finds out, she's pissed off, she's fuming. She calls Mitch for the chat. They sit down. She asks him, "How dare you say you want to be exclusive when this is what you're saying behind my back? Make it make sense. And what's changed that's made you decide we're exclusive?" Mitch is smart. I think we don't give Mitch a lot of credit for how he's maneuvered this game because people are always going to remember him. It might not be for the for good reasons, but they're always going to remember him because he then tried to make it seem like, oh, it's an insecurity thing that's caused him to sort of doubt whether Ella B is genuine about him. And it's like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. How are you doubting that she's not genuine? If you're doubting that she's not genuine, why not ask her? Or why not send someone to ask her for you? And the problem is Ella B as well. She was making crying noises, but I couldn't see any tears. And Mitch is sitting there just staring at her, dumbfounded, not even standing up to give her a cuddle or anything, or to try and sort of pacify her in any way. And so then she storms off. Mitch sits with the guys, and I said this. Tyreek, I think, now sees Ella B as a sister because that's someone who lives local to where he lives. He's someone, yes, he might have hooked up with her, but I think he's now on a friendship vibe. And he was sort of said, you should have told her the truth. Even Lockham said, "You should have said this. Oh, I was going to tell her before Whitney." So he's now blaming Whitney that Whitney is the one who ran out the gossip before he had the opportunity. And Lockham was like, on the date is when you should have told her, which is the truth. You should have told her first, clarified that, and then decided to ask her to be exclusive. Not to say, "I got clarity." How did you get clarity without speaking to her about it, without making sure that she's not being fake? I don't get that. I really don't get that. I think Mitch was just being messy and that's it. And I think Whitney was set up to be the bad guy because they could have easily told Ella, but then maybe if it had come from Ella, then Ella B might have thought, "Oh, she's just being jealous." But because it came from Whitney and she knows Whitney speaks the truth, I think this is where she grabbed onto it and was really hurt by it. And then Molly and Zachariah. Molly and Zachariah was set up for success because she had this sort of dress that was very draggy, and even Jess said, "Oh, why is it dragging all over the place? Why is she's not getting married?" And it was like the producers were trying to set up a fairy tale scene, and I think this is where they're trying to go with Molly and Zachariah. I called it. I said the reason why Whitney was told this information is that so she can take the blame, because then you now have Mitchell sort of stomping around the villa. Ella B is crying to Ella and Whitney, and Jess is suddenly there, and it's like, why didn't they tell Jess? Because Jess is closer to Ella B than Whitney. this is the reason why the producers really don't like the idea that Whitney is fan favorite. That's what the impression that I'm getting. And it's sad that Mitchell and Ella B voted for Whitney and Logan. Whitney and Logan saved them. And now Whitney is letting Ella B know that Mitchell is playing her. And yet Mitchell has the nerve when he sits down with Jess to say, oh, I'm upset because I wasn't given the opportunity to explain myself. Somebody just ran behind my back and told Ella B what happened. And it's like, you had all the time in the world. From the moment you received the text message and woke up and went for your date, not even that, from the after you spoke to the boys and told them that Ella B was fake, right up until your date ended and you came back saying that you're exclusive, you had all that time to tell her. Now you're looking for a scapegoat. Oh, I'm fuming, I'm not going to talk to her, I'm not going to comfort her, I'm not going. And it's like, okay, if that's what works for you and you feel like playing victim will get you somewhere, then do you. And we will all just wait and watch and see what happens when the cards fall in place. Because karma has really hit you hard, and because karma has hit you hard, you're now blaming the same person that you voted out or you weren't voted out, who saved you and is the reason why you're still on the show. Make it make sense. That's very insincere. And then Zachariah and Molly are being set for success. Whoever is being paid to produce Zachariah and Molly, I think, is either best friends with the parents or ITV really wants Zachariah and Molly to win so that the parents can say yes to whatever ITV wants from them. Because the fact that she got to wear a pink dress to go to a Barbie themed date, they had, the pink drinks, the pink, everything was pink. And then eventually, after Zachariah told her he loved her, surprise, surprise, they then stood there and had these pink ribbons in the background, and she lifted her little leg, and you could tell it was all staged. The whole date was staged. It was very awkward. Even Ella B and Mitchell's date was way more sort of authentic than Zachariah and Molly's date. I don't get why suddenly Zachariah feels the need to tell Molly that he loves her. It's only 8 weeks. He can tell her he loves her out on the outside. If he still feels that way, he wants her to be closer to his mom and stuff. And it's like, I don't get. I said this in reviews before that Zachariah has not enjoyed the full Love Island experience. His Love Island experience has been sort of hang around Molly's neck, and he has just followed behind her. Whatever she wanted or wherever they were going, he was just going to follow along and hope for the best. So I don't know. I don't even think their date was that sincere. Am I surprised that Zack and Molly picked Mitchell and Ella B to be their least compatible couple? No, because of the situation that is going on in the villa. And I think because everybody in the villa knows that Mitchell was saying that Ella B is fake, this is why it's going to be easy for everybody to vote them least compatible, because it only makes sense that they should go home. Whether or not Sammy and Jess have a stronger connection, nah. Mitchell has said this, they need to go home. They cannot reward bad behavior. He needs to go home. I don't get Zachariah. Bro code has passed the moment he opened his mouth and told Molly what happened, because what did he expect? He told Molly and he knew Molly would repeat what he was going to say. And he knew that Molly would be insulated from repeating whatever she said, because the producers would bring up somebody else to do the dirty work. And that person was Whitney. And so I give Ella B a lot of credit for approaching Zachariah to say, okay, this is what I've heard. Tell me exactly what was said by Mitchell, because you are the source. You are the one that leaked. And because you leaked to your girl, you now need to clarify what your girl leaked to Whitney. And for him to say, no, go and speak to Mitch first, and then after you've spoken to Mitch, I'll speak to you. And it's like, why? Why do you want to give Mitch the opportunity to clean up whatever mess is made? If that was your sister, how would you feel about somebody treating her that way? Be honest. Own it with your chest. This is one thing Locken did, which I admired, and I give him a lot of credit for, when he said, yes, I told Whitney because I was speaking to my girl and I needed her to know that this is what was happening in the villa. He should have owned it with his chest, that I'm sorry I repeated this to Molly. I should have left it to Mitchell to tell you. But I felt some type of way. This is why I told Molly, but I didn't realize Molly would tell someone and then they would all bring it back to you. But anyway, this is what Mitchell said, and take it as you want and then deal with that information as you please. Instead, he refused to say anything and encouraged her to go and speak to Mitch. She went and she spoke to Mitch, and Mitch is playing victim, and it's like, why are you the victim? Because Mitchell spoke to Molly and played the victim that I'm very furious, and it's like, you have no right, sir, to be upset. You have no right. You should be groveling. You should be begging. You should be apologizing. That's what you should be doing. You have no right to be upset because you're not the aggrieved person. Ella B is the person, and she has every right. If she wants to curse you out, if she wants to ignore you, if she wants to break up with you, that's it. And for him to sit down with Ella B and say, okay, so what do you want to do? Do you want us to break up? Do you want us to do what? It's like, are you serious or are you kidding? How dare you do that to her? You embarrass her in front of the whole villa, and suddenly you feel the need to pretend that you are now the victim of whatever's happened. I didn't get that, and I was furious. And Ty and Ella had gone on their date while all this was happening, and it's like the same sort of date that they set for India and Dami, where they had these, people playing in the streets and blah. And it's like, do you think that as black couples, all they want is to hear loud banging noises and people dancing, and that's it for them? You don't think they deserve anything better? I know last season, Shaq and Tanya got a really lovely date, but I wish they'd given Ty and Ella something a bit more up Ty's sort of lane or Ella's lane. I know Ella is the Barbie, but still, they should have given them something that they would appreciate as compared to what they gave them. I still feel some type of way about Ty and Ella's date. I think they deserve something more romantic. Yes, they were the fire hearts. Yes, that's amazing. I think they should have had maybe rose petals. They should have had flower arrangement and something of that sort. Something, because Ella's a princess, and I think they should have given her something with a princessy theme. I think what they gave her, in my opinion, was not it for her, and I think she deserved way better than that. But that's just me. I might be biased. I felt all they had was the dances at the start, and that was it. And it's like, how, when some people had a harponists playing all the time, all Ty and Ella got were the burning hearts, was that what they felt they deserved? I don't get it. And then you have Ty sort of asking Ella to be his girlfriend. I guess it makes sense. I guess it makes sense. I don't know whether this was the right time though. I think after their love yous, they should have gone into the real world to see if it worked. If it did work, then they'd have become boyfriend and girlfriend, because I think their biggest hurdle is coming when they get to the real world, and Ty is challenged by having to face the situations that he was in before he went into the villa. Do I think he's grown? Yes, I sincerely think Ty has grown. I think he's a different man walking out of the villa than the man that walked into the villa. The man that walked into the villa was after a good time, and so Ella has been able to some extent to bring that side out of him. I think my biggest thing is, I said this yesterday, she should have set boundaries with Ty. That was her shortfall. She should have set boundaries while they were in the villa, that if you do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I am walking. That way, when they leave the villa, he already knows where his boundaries are, and he will be able to move on from that. I don't know. They had this conversation. Obviously, they were Ella was going to stick up for Whitney, so they were never going to vote Whitney and Locke, and Ty was going to stick up for Zachariah and Sammy, because those are his mates in the villa. So it only makes sense that they chose to go with Mitch and Ella B, even though that was Ty's friend. I think if there was somebody else, Ty would have voted for somebody else, because I think he still values his relationship with Ella B. And so they return to the villa. Everybody's already had their day. They're getting ready for the night, and they sort of debrief and are ecstatic, and they tell everyone that they are now boyfriend and girlfriend, which I think is amazing. I think a lot of money was spent on Molly and Zachariah, I will say that, than was spent on other days, because it doesn't make sense. Mitch and Ella B got a harponist, that's all they got. Ty and Ella got burning hearts and some dances, as compared to those that had the whole place decked out in pink. It doesn't make sense. But anyway, I digress. Thanks, guys, for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye, everyone.